Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew, my other host right over there.
What's up? It's Dee. Good to see you again. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. Drop some comments below. Let us know your thoughts.
We're going through the AP Top 25. Let's just go ahead and dig right into it. Ohio State and Penn State sitting at the top still. Penn State with a huge matchup with Oregon this week, the number 6 team, who actually dropped down 2 spots. I know you're kind of the person that's like, what has Penn State done this year to be the number 2? Do you still feel that way?
100%. When does Penn State start showing up to the party? They don't even have that matchup this week. That's actually next week. So Penn State still hasn't started their season yet.
All right. Well, at the number 3 spot, we have LSU coming off a nice win for them. Miami playing Florida, and the number 5 team Georgia versus Alabama. Now, between Florida and Bama, do you think either of these teams have a chance to pull off an upset?
I don't think Miami is going to lose to Florida. Bama plays Georgia next week. I don't think Bama has that in them. I'm going to be honest. I'm not impressed by Bama. Okay, they beat up a bad Wisconsin team. I don't care. Once you start proving it in SEC play, that's when it matters to me, as far as Bama showing me like they could go out there and beat nobody state. Realistically, as bad as they got their ass kicked by Florida State, I need to see them go out there and beat someone of their same level. And this Georgia team, yeah, it is going to be a huge test for them. If they beat it, then I am more than happy to say, throw up my hands and be like, hey, you know what? I was wrong about Bama. I was wrong about Kalen DeBoer. Everything's going to work out fine. But yeah, next week is going to be a huge test, and I think they're going to fail.
So essentially little to no movement in that top 6 this week. Unless they wake up and say, Penn State, actually, you haven't done anything yet. Let's move you down. Correct?
Correct.
All right, let's move on to number 7, Florida State, moving up 3 spots. They have a layup versus Kent State. Texas drops down a spot. Arch Manning still not looking like he's ready to step up and play elite ball. They struggled against UTEP. They get Sam Houston this week. At number 9, we got Illinois versus Indiana. That should be an interesting matchup. And to round out the top 10, Texas A&M off a big win. They get Auburn next week.
That was a huge win. That was a marquee win for Mike Elko and the Texas A&M Aggies. Put a feather in your cap. This was awesome. You went on the road and beat Notre Dame. Realistically, you did it off of Marcel Reed's arm, which I don't think any of us were expecting. But you did it. You went out there and you did it. So kudos to them. I think that's a marquee win. Then now you got a bye week. Let's center ourselves and let's get after Auburn, which Auburn's a sneaky good team this year. They got a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. You can't sleep on that matchup with Auburn.
Definitely. We're going to talk about Auburn in a second. Any hype for the Illinois-Indiana game this week? Coach Sig, Illinois started very highly ranked, and now it's kind of kept them around. I think there's teams lower on this list who have had better quality wins, but they're still sitting at this top 9 from their early rankings in the preseason.
Yeah, 100%. This is based off the preseason ranking, but I do think that they are going to beat Indiana. I think this Illinois team is the Brett Bielema special. It's a lot of returning talent. It's a team that doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. All they do is they go out, they keep chopping wood, they keep doing their thing. No one gets too high, no one gets too low, and they capitalize on mistakes. I think that they are good enough to beat Indiana and beat Indiana pretty heavily.
Now we're going to go to number 11, Oklahoma. John Mateer currently sits at the best odds for the Heisman. I think the award is still out for anyone to step up and claim it. They get the interesting Auburn team this week, and I think it's going to be one of the better matchups of the weekend. Iowa State continues to win. They get Arizona, who next week, who I think Arizona's been a little bit sneaky play for me. I like their quarterback. Ole Miss at 13 gets Tulane. I'm just gonna say, throw this out there. Any interest in a trap game here for Ole Miss to fall to Tulane?
Ole Miss hasn't been good this year. I mean, they haven't been good up until last week. They beat a sneaky Arkansas team. It was a shootout. Does kind of give me a little less credence to be like Tulane in this trap game, but Tulane has been good. And they are just coming off of a Power 4 win against Duke. And I could see them kind of feeling themselves a little bit. Hey, I think that's a sneaky, like, if you're Ole Miss, you can't look past it. You've got to be looking at the scare meter and being like, oh, okay, this could be it for us.
And this is where the section of the top 25 gets really interesting. Bama's still at 14. They move up 5 spots. They're next week facing Georgia in a game where it's, listen, life on the line. You guys got to put up a good fight in this one. Tennessee, on the other hand, ranked below them, looked amazing for a lot of that Georgia game. I know they started to struggle in the second half to put up points, but the quarterback play, the running game, everything was working for this Tennessee team for a good portion of that game, and they really competed against Georgia.
I think Bama is ranked way too high. They haven't done anything. They beat nobody state, and they beat Wisconsin. So, hey, cool. Let's pat ourselves on the back. Tennessee. Yeah, you're 100% right. This Tennessee team did 100% flex. They showed what they are capable of as far as offensively. Joey Aguilar just showed out. What a stud. He showed out. I think this Josh Heupel offense is centered and predicated around the run. I think they will get that run game going. The one thing that you can kind of point back to is the defense. They got points put up on them. I don't think that's going to be the case week in, week out as we go through the SEC schedule. So I feel pretty good about Tennessee sticking around in that top 25 spot right there.
Yeah, 16, we got Utah in a matchup with Texas Tech. Georgia Tech at 18 has looked impressive this year. They are certainly looking like a team that can compete for the ACC title. Indiana at 19, we mentioned with that matchup with Illinois. Vandy rounding out at 3-0, looking really impressive at 20. 16-17, that's going to be one of the marquee matchups of the weekend. How are you feeling about it?
Yes, that is a huge matchup. I am so pumped for this. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. Devin Dampier, I think, is plus 1,700 for the Heisman odds. With this matchup against Texas Tech is either going to drastically shoot him up the boards or shoot him down the boards on this. I would, if you're like, ooh, okay, buy a little stock on Devin Dampier, Utah. I think we're seeing now what we thought Kyle Whittingham and this Utah team was going to be last year. I think we are seeing them now this year. They are still tough. They still get after it. And now they have a quarterback to back.
Moving on to the list, Michigan has Nebraska this week. They've actually moved up a few spots. Auburn, like we mentioned, has Oklahoma. That's going to be an exciting matchup. Missouri versus South Carolina, coming off South Carolina, disappointing loss. Their quarterback Lenore Sellers was hurt in that game. Missouri has a chance to make a statement, while South Carolina has a chance to crawl back in to the rankings.
I think Missouri takes it. I'm really, as you know, I'm really high on this Missouri team. I think Bo Pribula has shown that he is, if we're ranking SEC quarterbacks, he's got to be up there, at least top 5. And this South Carolina team hasn't looked as great this year as people were expecting. So, yeah, this is a huge rebound spot for them. Can they kind of capture that magic? Or is Missouri going to prove that they are true contenders in the SEC this year?
Yeah, and then we have Notre Dame at 24, winless going into week 4. They do not have a impressive matchup for the rest of the season. Their most difficult game is going to be against USC, who's currently ranked. We will see how long that lasts. But at number 24, it's not undefeated Cal, the Calgorithm. It's not BYU. It's not South Florida. It's not Mississippi State. It is Notre Dame. How do you feel about that?
It's so insane to me that Notre Dame is ranked 24th in the entire nation going into week 4 with no wins, with winless. And people are like, okay, well, they're 4 points away from 2 top 10 wins. I don't know how we can pat them on their back and be like, hey, you did a great job, buddy. You lost by 1 point to Miami. You had an entire offseason to game plan for them. And then you tried to rig the system and you got a bye week and then you faced Texas A&M and you lost at home. how am I supposed to be like, okay, great job. You are still a top 25 team. Yeah, we can go ahead and are we going to give participation awards for Notre Dame? Cool, I guess, but I doesn't sit right with me.
I think me and you were talking about this off screen where this feels like a job where they're going to keep Notre Dame ranked to try to sneak them into the playoffs at the end of the day. Notre Dame does not have a marquee win for the rest of this. The rest of their schedule, we mentioned USC is their biggest matchup. USC plays Illinois, Michigan, Notre Dame, Iowa, and Oregon. If they win half of those only, this is not an impressive win for Notre Dame. So is this about keeping Notre Dame ranked to try to position them to make the playoffs?
100%. If Notre Dame is ranked 24th right now with 0 wins, imagine what they're going to be ranked when they rip 10 in a row. Like it's going to be insane. Notre Dame is eliminated from the playoffs. Big 12 is deeper. The ACC is sure of a hell of a lot deeper this year. And the Big 10 is always going to be the Big 10 and the SEC is always going to be the SEC. This should have been a playoff eliminator for Notre Dame because they can't backdoor. They can't do what Clemson did last year and hey, let's try to run the table here and get a spot at the conference championship and win it, and that they have to put us in that way. That is not the case with Notre Dame. They do not have the luxury of falling back and being conference champs. And there is too many good teams atop of the ACC now and even the Big 12 where I just don't think Notre Dame should get a seat at the table if they run the table.
Yeah, their toughest probably matchups of the year: Arkansas coming up, USC, Boston College, Navy, Pittsburgh, Syracuse. I mean, that is not a schedule that you look at and say, okay, strength of schedule. If that's what we're weighing, then definitely you're in. I think this is definitely to set them up to run the table and sneak into the top 12.
Good slate of games this week coming up. Again, I think there's a lot of talent. There's a lot of teams sitting just outside the top 25 that you're looking at it. You're like, I think nobody's dead from the playoff yet. So I think there's a lot of teams that could have some pretty exciting seasons.
Yeah, well, you guys let us know what you think in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time.
Later.